Hello everyone, welcome to PHP Machines. In this episode, we'll create a group chat, and in order to create this chat, we'll be using Ajax. So one way to send data to the server is using forms. We have already seen examples of forms where we have buttons, submit button, we have input fields, and then when we click on send, then it will submit the form. Okay, so another way you can send a request to the server is using Ajax. So in order to create this chat, we will be using Ajax. So the difference between sending data request using forms and Ajax is when we submit a form, then the whole page will reload. Okay, but when we send data through Ajax, then it will send in the background. It will send the data in the background. So it will send the request, it will display the message right here. Okay, so we don't need to reload the whole page. So for example, let me show how this chat works. I'll open two windows. So let's say there are two people. So Jack sends a message, hello. Okay, so if we click on send here, okay, if I click on send, we can see the message appeared right here. Okay, without reloading this whole page. This was done through Ajax. So when I say click on send, then it sends Ajax request in the background. It fetches the messages and displays here. So in another window also we can see the message being displayed. So let's say John responds with hello, how are you? Okay, so when I click on send, it sends Ajax request. Okay, and the message appears instantly like this. So we'll use Ajax in order to implement this messaging today. So let's get started. First of all, let me go to Infinity Free. Let's log in. So let's take a look at all the machines we have created so far. So in the previous episode, we created digital clock. So for today's chat, the first thing, let's add our machine here. Okay, so let's create a new folder and let's name it chat. So as always, let's create an index.php file. And for now, let's just print hello. After that, let's add our machine in our machine list page. So this is the name of the folder and this is the name of the machine. So we can see group chat has been added. If we click on it, it says hello. Okay, so today first of all we'll implement this user interface. We'll create this box, we'll add input, and we'll also add styling because styling is important in this chat application. So after that, after adding styling and after making the page look like this, we will then work on the functionality. Okay, so first of all, let's discuss how this machine works. First of all, let me show in Paint how we implement this chat. Okay, so let me just print this and let's paste it here. So in order to create a machine like chat, we have to think conceptually. So how will we design this application or machine? So let's do it like this. When we click on send, okay, let's say Jack let's say a user puts in his or her username and puts the message. After clicking send, what should it do? It should send a request in the background. Okay, this will be Ajax request. This is similar to submitting forms. So this will send a request to a PHP file called save message.php. Okay, so after we put our name and put our message and click on send, it will send this data to save message.php. Okay, so what this PHP will do is, on the server it will create a text file called messages.txt, and it will add in username and message here. Okay, so it will write first of all the username, after that comma, and then message, which is hello. So another user, let's say John, writes another message here. So John writes hi, okay, and presses on send. So after clicking on send, it will again send this message to the save message.php, and then that PHP file should write first of all the name and then message, like this, in messages.txt file. Okay, so in this way all the messages will be appended to this messages.txt. So this way we will be sending our data to the server and saving our messages. Okay, so another thing we need to do is, how can we display these messages here? For that we will run a timer every 1 second, okay, in this page. And we have already seen how we can create timer using set interval function in JavaScript. So every 1 second we will again send another Ajax request. This time we will send request to another PHP called fetch messages.php. okay, so what this PHP will do is, it will read all the messages from this messages.txt, and it will simply return this to this page. Okay, so we have two Ajax requests. One Ajax request is to save the message, another Ajax request is to fetch messages. Okay, it's not that complicated. So in this way we can implement our chat, and after fetching the messages we will display our messages in the box. Okay, so let's now start implementing this machine. First of all, let's create our user interface. So let's go to chat and then index.php. So let's start writing our HTML. So doc type HTML. So inside body, first of all we can see here we have a title. So let's add in our heading called chat. After that we can see this is a container. Okay, so for that, container for messages, for that we can create a div, and let's also give an ID of messages so that we can add our messages in this box later using JavaScript. After that, here we can see a label and then our input box. So for that, in order to create a label, we use the label and then we put the message. After that, we do for creating the input type equals text. After that, we have another label called username. Okay, and finally we have a button called send. So if we save it, so you can see our form elements have been added to our page. So next, let's add styling to our page so that it looks like this. Okay, so for that, first of all, I'll add the background color. So in order to add styling, inside head we add style inside the style block. Also, let's give the title for the page. So first of all, let's select the body and then let's add the background color. Okay, so let's add a color similar to this. To get color names, we type color names double-3 schools, and double-3 schools has this page where we can see the colors. So so in order to add this color, so that color is looks like this color. Okay, so let's copy this code. So we use the background color CSS property and give it this. So you can see the color has been added. Next, let's add styling to our heading. So for that, we select the heading S1. So first of all, let's increase the font size to a little bit larger, and then let's also inside body, let's change the font style to Tahoma, and let's also text align everything to the center. So for the heading, we can see this the heading is this color. So let's see that color looks like that color looks maybe it's this color. So let's copy this. So let's give the color for the heading. So we can see our styling has been added. So actually the font style, it should be font family, not style. Okay, so next let's add styling to our box. Okay, so for that messages box, we have to select this div. So let's change the width to something like 40%. Let's add the margin as auto, and let's give the border of 1 pixel 2 pixels solid. The border looks like this color. Okay, and we also need to set the height. Okay, so let's add the height to something like 400 pixels. Also, we can see the border is a little bit round in the corners. So for that, we can use something called border radius property and give something like 10 pixels. Just to make the edge little bit rounder corners. After that, the background color is white. Okay. So after that, let's now add styling to our labels and input boxes. So for that, first of all, let's give ID to all our labels and inputs. So let's give an ID of message label. For the input box, let's give an ID of message. For the username, let's give an ID of user label, and for the input box, let's give an ID of username. Also, let's give ID to the button. Let's give an ID of send. Okay, so after that, now let's select our this label. and let's increase the font size to 40 pixel. That's a bit larger, so let's give font size 20 pixel. Also the color will be this same color. After that, now let's add styling to our input box. So in order to select the box, we use the ID. So let's increase the font size to 2 times, and let's add a padding of 10 pixel. Also let's let's add a margin of 20 pixel. Let's remove the outline and border. Okay, so now let's add our styling to these two labels. Okay, so for that we can use the same styling. So we just use comma and then hash and this user label, and for username we just use comma and then this. Okay, after that let's add styling to our button. So in order to add styling to our button, we select our button using this ID. So let's change the font size to 2am. We can see the background color is, so background color is the same. So this is the background color. After that, the text color should be white. Let's add a padding of 10 and 20 pixel. So that will make the button look like this. Let's remove the outline and border. So outline should be none and border should be none. After that, we can change the cursor to pointer. So that will make this hand appear when we hover. Finally, when we hover, we can change the background color. So for that, we use the hover pseudo selector, and then we change the background color. Okay, so we can change on hover, we can change the background color to white, and then we can change our text to black. Okay, or we can even change the color to this one, text color. So let me now close this page and let's see. So if we hover over our button, then it will now change color. Okay, so finally now let's reduce the width little bit. For that we can set the width to something like 40%. Let's see. Sorry, let's just use 40. Let's just use 80 pixel. Let's use 300 pixel. Let's use 200 pixel. Also let's reduce the font size of this button a little bit. Okay, so now let's looks like our styling has been completed. Now next we will now start implementing our functionality like this. Okay, so first of all, like mentioned earlier, first of all we'll implement this save message .php. okay, so when we click on send, when we put our message here and click on send, it will send Ajax request to save message.php, which will save our messages in a text file. okay, so how can we do that? For that we'll use Ajax. So in order to write JavaScript, we use the script tag, and it is so we write our script tag before the closing body tag. okay, so here now we will use JavaScript, but we will use jQuery, which will be shorter. So in order to use jQuery, we first have to use the jQuery library. okay, so we just need to copy this line. So inside head we have to import this library, okay, so that we can use jQuery. Now using jQuery, first of all let's select our button. So how can we do that? Using jQuery, this is how we can select our button. So we use dollar and then hash, and then we give the ID. okay, this selects the button. So after that let's add a click event listener. So when the button is clicked, let's just alert hello for now, just to see how jQuery works here. So if we click on send, then it says hello. okay, now instead of saying hello, here we need to do something. okay, what we need to do, we need to send Ajax request, okay, like this. So for that, first of all let's fetch in our values from our input boxes. okay, so for that let's create a variable, and let's fetch in the message. So we select this box using the ID, and in order to get the value of that text box, we use the val method, okay, like this. This is how we fetch the value of this text box, okay, using jQuery. Similarly, we fetch the username using the username ID. okay, now we are ready to send Ajax request here. So the way we send Ajax request is we use $.post. okay, and first of all we give the action. okay, in the form we give the action. In the form we set the name of the PHP file. okay, in the form we used to, in the action attribute we used to give the name of the PHP file. Similarly, in Ajax call we have to give the name of the PHP file that will receive our data. After that we pass in this data. okay, so for that we use the name and we give the value, okay, which is this MSG. After that we use another name, username, and we pass this value. This is similar to using names in these input elements. okay, so we are now sending this data to this file. After that we put the function that will receive the data. okay, so this will send request to this file using this data, and whatever this file will reply will come here. okay, so for now let's just alert the data so that we know what we have received. okay, now let's save it. So it is sending request to this file, so we need to create this PHP file next. okay, for now let's just print, let's just return hello for now. So now what happens, if we click on send, it will say hello. okay, So how this works is, when you click on send, it fetches the values, it then sends the request, okay, and it just alerts the data that was received. Now this save.message.php will return this message. That is why it is alerting that message, okay. Now instead of returning just hello, what we can now do is we can fetch, since we are passing these data, we can now fetch these data in the PHP file, okay. So we have to note the names, message and username. Okay, let's do that. So in the save.php, now we can fetch in the data similar to how we fetch data from forms, okay. So we use the post global variable and we give the name here. So the names were message, and then for username, the name we used was username, okay. So now we have fetched in the data. Now let's just print this data for now. Now let's see what happens. Now if I put in user1 here and message AST, if I click on send, we can see it prints the message and then the username, okay. So how did that work? When we sent the data, it sent this data to this file, okay, and we are using a message and username as the names are keys. So the PHP file will first fetch these two data using the keys or names, message and username, and it will return back the same data, okay, like this. Now we are ready to implement this functionality. So after sending, we have to write this username and message in a text file, okay. So we need to now create a messages.txt file here. So how we can do that? We can use the fopen function that will and here we specify the name of the text file, and we have to use append mode, okay. So we are opening the file in append mode. We need to use append mode here, not W, right, okay. So because we need, if we use append mode, then all the messages will be appended to the end of this text file, okay. If we use W, then it will rewrite everything from the start, okay. So we don't want to lose data. So after opening, we also need to close the file using fclose function, okay. So we have opened this file and then we are closing this file. Now here we write the data, okay. So we are writing to this file, and then what we write here, we can write anything, like we can write hello, but we need to write the user message and username, okay, in this format. So we write the username comma and then message, okay. So username comma message. So instead of hello in the text file, we write username followed by a comma and then followed by message, okay. And also we need to append a new line character, okay. So this way all the username message pair will be in separate lines, okay. Okay, now let's save it. Let's see if it works. So now I put user1 and say hello, okay. So I clicked on send here. Now it should create messages.txt file here, and it should save this username and message here, okay. So let's see if that worked. If I refresh, we can see it has created messages.txt, and if we go inside here, it has user1 comma hello, okay. So now if I write user2 hi and click on send, it should append that message at the end of this file, okay. So let's wait a little bit. It takes a little while to update. So we can see it has appended correctly. Okay, so we have implemented now this part. So now the next part we need to do is we need to display our message here. Okay, so how can we display our message here? For that we need to set up a timer, and then we send Ajax request to fetch this message now. Okay, so we have completed saving the message. Now we need to fetch the message and display it here. Okay, so for that we will now create a timer. So in our index page, so in the script block, what we'll do is we'll create a timer here. Okay, so in order to create a timer, we use set interval, and then we give the name of the function. Let's call it fetch messages, and we set the time to 1 second. Okay, so this will now call this function every second. So now let's create that function here. Okay, now it will run this timer. It will call every second. For now, let's just console.log hello. Let's see if the timer runs. So if we refresh our page, if I press F12, we can see here it is printing hello every second. Okay, so now instead of printing hello every second, here we now need to fetch our message here. Okay, from the server. For that we will send Ajax request like this. Okay, now in order to fetch we use $.get. Okay, in order to send data we use .post. In order to fetch we use $.get. Now where are we sending our Ajax request? We need to send to a separate PHP file. So let's call it fetch messages.php, and then after sending request it will return the data like this. And for now let's just console.log this data. Okay, let's see now if this works. So every second it should now send Ajax request to fetch messages.php. Now let's build our fetch messages.php. Now what should this PHP do? This should simply return the messages here. Okay, so this should be simple. So how can we return the messages from this text file? We just read that file and we just echo it. Okay, so for that we just echo file get contents. That is how we read a text file. The name of the file is messages.txt. Okay, this file just returned the contents of this messages.txt. Now let's see if it works. If I press F12, we can see here every second it is fetching the data and it is displaying it in the console. Okay, so instead of displaying in the console, we can now display it in the box in our messages div. Okay, for that what we can do is we can select our this messages div, and then we can just use .text or HTML, and then we can display our data here. Okay, this will put the contents inside this box. So let's see if this works. So if I refresh the page, we can see it has fetched the data and it has displayed it here. Okay, so now if we send another data user3 and another message and press send, we can see the messages are being displayed here. Now the only thing remaining is we need to display these messages. These are all the messages. We need to display these in this way. Okay, so in this way. So we can do that simply using JavaScript. So let's do that. So now we have our data here. Let's create a variable called messages, and let's save that data here first. Now how can we make this look little nicer? What we can do is there is new line here. Okay, there is new line between these messages. Let's replace that new line with br tag. Okay, So so for that we can use replace all method of string. Okay, and this method will can be used to replace something with something. So let's replace the new line with br tag. Okay, so br will add new line. So now we can add our message, but instead of text we'll use HTML. Since this string has HTML code, that will render the HTML correctly. Okay, so if we refresh, we can see now it is coming in separate lines because there is br tag here. Okay, now the final thing is, let's also replace this comma with colon. So for that we can do this similar trick. So we can replace comma with colon like this. So we can see now the messages are displaying nicely. Finally, let's just text align this to the left. For that, inside here we can just do text align to the left. So finally, let's also add a little bit of padding inside here. Let's add a padding of 10 pixels. That will add a little bit space inside here. So looks like our machine is complete. To test, I will again open a new window here, and let's just talk with each other. Okay, so let me add a name, John, and let's say hi Jack. Okay, if I send it, oh, finally let's disable that alert. Okay, we are receiving this alert because we have this code here. So I have removed the alert here. So in order to create the alert is coming from here. Okay, so after we send a request to save message, we don't need to alert it. So I removed that alert code. So let's save it. Now let's test it. So so we can see the message of John. Now let's so Jack replies, hello John. So if I click on send, we can see the message appears here. Okay, and how is this message appearing? This is because of the timer. Okay, that is running every second. So in this way we can create a machine like group chat. In today's episode we have used Ajax in order to create chat, and in our application or machine like chat, Ajax is important because we don't want to submit the form and reload everything. Okay, we want to send request in the background, and we want to display our message in the box somewhere. So for that we can use Ajax. Hope this episode was interesting and informative. Hope you like this episode. If you like this episode, please like, share and subscribe. In the next episodes we'll create other useful machines and we'll learn other concepts. So this much for now. Thanks for watching.